What's up everybody, SuperX fan here for another quick drive video. This time I'm driving the Mini Cooper S Clubman All4, so all-wheel drive, the faster of the Clubmans here. But now, they've gotten so large, they're 4 doors and longer, and I think this one actually feels higher up off the ground too. So they're starting to feel less and less like a Mini little by little to me. I owned an R56 for about 6 months, and just the standard Cooper S, but this still has a very fun Mini-like personality to it. I just love all the eccentric little things, all the different lights that this has. I mean, the fuel gauge is a series of lights, and it's just very different, and the whole gauge cluster actually goes up and down with the steering column. You have these other lights here around the navigation binnacle, which is much like the other older Minis. It used to have a speedometer there that now just has the infotainment system there. But I mean, everything, all the switches and everything actually feels extremely high quality. I know, in the weekly updates and stuff, I complain about how these Minis are starting to get expensive, but honestly, I think it's worth the price, and I think this interior is far more interesting than a comparable, 3 Series interior or something like that. And, if you want something that's different and that stands out from the crowd, I'd rather spend the money on this, even though it is only a Mini and not a BMW by name. You still have BMW quality stuff in here. Actually, I think some stuff feels better than BMW. I think BMW could learn some stuff from Mini as far as making fun interiors goes. But yeah, it's just, a nice little thing to cruise around in here. Very smooth, soft, comfortable. They've made them so refined here. But it's just, everything is just, now this is the John Cooper Works one as well, so it's even more sporty. You have this very thick and aggressively bolstered wheel here that has enormous, I think probably the largest 10 and 2 notches I've ever seen in my life, as well as a really nice 9-3 grip, some cool little paddles here behind the wheel. And yeah, I'm really impressed with this thing. Seats are fairly comfortable as well. I have an interesting grippy leather-like material on it here. And yeah, they're just, I don't know, this thing just, every time you drive a Mini, it just feels fun. Even if you're not going fast or pushing it, just driving around and it kind of puts you in a good mood. It's kind of strange, but awesome. And we'll chuck it into a corner here. Alright, so it's still very playful, it has a little bit of a roll to it. A little bit softer, but this is the Clubman after all, not just the standard Cooper, so it's larger, and so you kind of expect that a little bit, I think. But it's a really pleasant thing. I'm not on roads that suit the Mini's strengths. This is, back roads carver, and we're on some mostly straight roads here. But like I said, it's a really nice little thing to cruise around in. It's still feels fairly small, although you are sitting up a little bit higher, and it does feel a little bit bigger, it still feels relatively small. I get nervous though, the larger and more mainstream they make these Minis, if they're losing any of their flair. And I think that, maybe they're losing a little bit of their uniqueness, but I think that it still is very bold and fun, and it's like I said, I just love that it's different and it just stands out from the crowd. It's not trying to blend in with anything. But we'll put it over into manual mode. And yeah, let's just give it a go on this straight road here, see how the power is. Here we go. Okay, not bad. Honestly though, for something, that's an S, you would expect it to be a little more faster, a little more exciting. I mean, Minis have never been extremely fast in a straight line, but they've always been dramatic in a straight line in the way that they deliver that power. And this, you get a little bit of a sound to it, but I don't know, it's missing something. Like I said, it still is fun and playful in its personality, but it just could use a little more edge, a little more attitude, a little more oomph. It's just a little watered down to me is kind of the feeling I'm getting from it here. But I do enjoy it, and I hope to be able to test out. I still have not tested these new Minis at all, none of them, and I'd really love to test out at least the new Cooper S just to see how it compares to the R56 and the R53. But I mean, I can see how this is still fun, and like I said, I think I understand now why they're so expensive, because they do have such nice interiors, and I am really, really impressed with this interior more than anything else, honestly. That is definitely, I think, one of the best things about these cars. The transmission in the Mini here is pretty good as well. Whenever you're in sport mode, it likes to hang on to the gears, which is always nice. And upshifts are pretty quick. Downshifts, it still feels a little bit like a torque converter. I'm not sure exactly what transmission this vehicle has. I'll put it in the description below for those that are curious. But it certainly could use a little bit more quickness to it. One thing I can say about this engine though is although it doesn't have a ton of thrilling top end, it does have a boatload of torque that even in like, you know, even in higher gears, like we're in 4th now, cruising at a lower speed, and it still has a good shove forward. Again, nothing mind-blowing. You're not going to confuse it with a V8 or anything like that, but it does, you know, this turbo is definitely, I think, tuned for the lower end part of the RPM band, and it makes it feel really, really zippy around town. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all my thoughts here on the Mini that I can gather from, like I said, on straight roads that are flat. But I'm hoping to, you know, be able to get a crack at reviewing some Minis eventually here, and you know, get a feel for what they're like on some proper windy back roads. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on these Clubmans and, you know, the size increase and all that kind of stuff. And thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.